Now I want to show you some of the damage outside. See this metal roof? It's crumpled like paper. This yellow stuff, this is actually insulation that was thrown across a field here next to the school. I'm not sure what you can see, but there's a toilet. This is the vanity, the sink. Deputies say when they arrived, they found the homeowner underneath the bathroom. His wife was close by. Deputies were able to rescue him. He has been taken to the hospital with what Sheriff Clay Bennett describes as unknown injuries. GSU has given the all clear. Students are free to move around campus. Police say it started at about 3:30 this afternoon. The Ruston Police Department tipped off the school to a man heading towards campus with a gun. Jennifer, good evening. I'm here on the corner of Tower and Bienville Drives here in Monroe, and if we pan the camera a little bit, this here is actually the land that Mayor Friday Ellis wants the City Council to purchase for $5.1 million. Jennifer, today marks 3 years to the day since Green was allegedly beaten, tased, and dragged by state troopers in Union Parish. So far, nobody has been charged with a crime.
I'm your brother. I'm scared. Get out of the car. I'm scared. Get out.
3 years after state troopers allegedly stunned and beat Ronald Green after a high-speed chase that began in Ouachita Parish and ended in Union Parish, his family is still seeking answers.
No more, no less. We want justice. We need arrests.
Ronald Green's mother and family met with Union Parish District Attorney John Belton today. Attorney Lee Merritt says the family is frustrated that Belton hasn't filed charges against any of the officers involved.
I think that the prosecutor for this parish has been given authority by the people of Louisiana to respond to criminal activity. I think Mr. Belton has acknowledged that there has been criminal activity associated with what occurred to Ronald Green 3 years ago, and that there is no longer a legitimate reason to continue to delay justice.
Belton, who originally referred the case to the federal government, says 2 months ago he was given the okay to pursue state charges, but says he's waiting on the feds for a full investigative report.
It is so important for me to wait on a complete file so I can present all evidence to a special grand jury, not just partial evidence, but all evidence. And I think that is in the best interest of the Ronald Green family in terms of pursuing justice for them.
The Green family argues the body camera video is sufficient enough evidence to impanel a grand jury. Tonight, the family will hold a vigil at the site of Green's death. His mother says she will not stop fighting for justice.
I'll stay here till it's completed. There's no doubt I won't fail my son.
Now, Jennifer, DA Belton says he does expect to receive that full investigative file soon, but he wouldn't put a date on it. Regardless, he says he'll continue to fight for justice for the Green family. Live in Ruston, Tyler Englander, KNOE 8 News. Jennifer, it will. Once complete, the project is expected to create 175 jobs and have a $30 million impact over 5 years.
It's going to really provide a lot more opportunity in this area for people to realize their dreams without having to go somewhere else.
A groundbreaking for the Biomedical Research and Innovation Park in Monroe. The 60,000 square foot facility will serve as an incubator for medical research and design.
Today we begin the process that will eventually allow our faculty and students to partner with leading researchers and companies from around the world to create a hub for innovation and economic development, improve communities, and improve lives.
The first part of the project will use money from a federal economic development grant to construct roads near the ULM College of Pharmacy.
We'll be under construction with the streets by the end of the year, early next year. Then the building construction will start by early summer of next year, followed by 12 to 18 months of construction.
24 of the $31 million allocated for the project comes from state funds. Governor John Bel Edwards says that's only possible because of his administration's responsible handling of the budget.
Had you come to see me 6 years ago, I'd have said, can't do it. But we've worked really hard in Louisiana to overcome the largest budget deficit ever, to diversify our economy, to make sure that we are able to invest in education.
The The governor also committed to setting aside an additional $4 million for the project, which he says is needed to combat the cost of construction materials due to inflation.
So we have multiple ways to do this. We're going to work with the with the legislative delegation, almost all of whom were here today, to identify the best way forward. But the funding is there, and there's enough different ways to do it that I feel very comfortable making that commitment today.
How are you? You look great. You don't even look like you got hurt.
They say heroes come in many uniforms. For Doug Harvey, his wears hospital scrubs.
She's like an angel to me. I mean, it was, to see her that morning was a sigh of relief. To see her again was a sigh of relief.
When I saw him walk in, I did not expect him to walk in looking pretty normal. From the last time I saw him, his arm was kind of hanging out.
On Monday, November 21st, Harvey was driving to Arkansas on Highway 165 North in Monroe.
I thought in that moment, I thought I was probably going to die.
Harvey's Ford Expedition was hit on the side, sending it off the road.
For me, it was terrifying. I saw what the condition my arm was in, and then the glass was everywhere. And I was spitting up blood, and I could taste the glass, and I did not know where the blood was coming from.
Harvey had an open fracture of his right shoulder and was losing blood fast.
Started thinking about my kids. I mean, every one of them had a version of life, I mean, that I could kind of fast forward through. And it was, the best way I could put it is like, hey, it's not time yet.
That's when registered nurse Demi Thomas, going south, pulled up to a red light. She says the sounds of a car alarm got her attention.
And I kind of see him sitting up in the car, but not really sure what's going on. And then when I rolled down the window, that's when I hear him screaming. I remember just saying, "Are you okay?" And he said no.
Once Thomas, who was on her way to work at P&S Surgery, evaluated the scene, she knew she had to stop the blood coming from Harvey's shoulder. She wanted to apply a tourniquet.
When I asked him, I said, "Do you have on a belt?" And he said, "I do." And so we were trying to get to it, but the seat belt, like he said, was so tight that I couldn't climb over the door. There was glass everywhere, so I was trying to not get hurt and get it off of him.
That's when Thomas spotted a bystander.
And I said, "Here, give me your belt and hold this light."
Thomas says God is the real hero. She was late for work that day because her husband forgot to put her scrubs in the dryer the night before.
Because I'm an on-time person, I really am, so when I am late, it burns me up, and I try to be late as little as possible.
Thanks to Thomas and her tourniquet, she stabilized Harvey until an ambulance arrived. EMTs took Harvey to a Monroe hospital before going to Shreveport. Thomas says she found Harvey's wife on Facebook and reached out.
I don't feel like I did anything, extraordinary, but I wanted to know if what I did help in some way.
After a grueling 5-hour surgery to reconstruct his shoulder, Harvey is home with a new friend, his hero, cheering his recovery.
I mean, we've been in touch, both of us, him and his wife have been in touch with me, I think a lot since that happened. I'm glad I was there too.
Not as much as we were.
Now, Harvey says his recovery is going well, but adds there are still risks that could require a complete shoulder replacement.